Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I'm going to share with you perspective from a number of chart analysts in this latest Moon Lambo hot jam, including several specifically talking about XRP. And one of them notes, it was never easy for XRP, but history does repeat. And he sure as hell is right about that. What holders of a cryptocurrency in this space have had a harder time than XRP holders, especially with the SEC nonsense, having to deal with nonstop crap from the toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls, you name it. There's been no shortage of things, and consolidating sideways arguably for about 6.5 years. We haven't had a new all-time high in 6.5 years. It has been tough. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that XRP won't be worth way more in the future. History does tend to more or less repeat. Kind of rhymes with itself, right? I'm going to share with you some perspective and charts that, as far as I'm concerned, should be reason for optimism. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 4:55 a.m. Central Time, Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. We have XRP at 43 cents, Bitcoin at $57,678. So not surprisingly, the market be scare. We got the crypto fear and greed index at 27 out of 100. But it's not going to stay there. At some unknown point in the future, we will be back into greed and extreme greed, and you better believe I'm going to be here for it. Here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Santiment, who wrote the following. If you're considering buying the dip, note that the crowd is anticipating a rebound themselves. Ideally, one of these dramatic dips is met with FUD and panic. Historically, most turnarounds occur immediately after the average traders have given up hope on crypto. And so they're highlighting social dominance here and the Bitcoin price. To come to a conclusion just based on the data, based on what has happened in terms of price action, when looking at these metrics in the past, they actually do think there's a reasonable possibility we see further move to the downside, even though, obviously, it's true that the market's in fear. I mean, I just showed you the crypto fear and greed index, and if you hop on a social media platform where people are talking crypto, it's very easy to see this. It is super easy to see this, but it doesn't mean that everyone who is a lettuce hand has been flushed out, particularly at this point. So take it for what it's worth. But are we at a point where we're actually entering a bear market? Well, somebody asked effectively that to chart analyst Credible Crypto, and he'd been away for a few days, so it was interesting to see. He's jumping back to it, a defense that, and it's to me the way that he's speaking, it's so matter of fact and very obviously correct. It just highlighting, no, this isn't over yet. That's not what's probable, right? And so somebody asked him, Cred, what evidence do you show to refute claims that the bull market cycle is over? And Credible Crypto says, a better question should be, what evidence is there to suggest that the bull market cycle is over? Thus far, we have a very clear macro uptrend off our lows at $15,000. From a pure market structure perspective, there is nothing to suggest that this rally, a major fifth wave, is over. The onus is on bears here to shift the trend on higher time frame, which isn't even close to happening at this time. And so he is correct. I've seen multiple analysts cite exactly or roughly $38,000 Bitcoin as the point that would need to be breached. You got to go below that in order for this market structure to be invalidated and in order for the bull market to effectively be over. And he's highlighted, we're nowhere near that. And he's right. We're $57,000 right now. It would take a crazy amount of selling pressure for that to happen. And so when we're talking about what's going to happen in the market, nobody knows. Nobody knows for sure. So we don't speak in absolutes, typically. We speak in terms of probability. And based on historic data, what's probable is a continuation to the upside because we're in a bull market, and pullbacks like this are not just normal. They've happened multiple times in every single bull cycle. You should so the fact that what historically let me word like this. The fact that what has happened in the past is in previous market cycles is occurring in this market cycle should not surprise you. It would be weird if this weren't happening, if it never happened and it were up only literally. The phrase up only is fun, but not literally. It doesn't literally happen, right? Here's a post from chart analyst Tech Dev. He shared this with his 465,000 followers on social media platform X. And so it's just the Bitcoin USD price chart on the top going back to the beginning of time. So you can see 2010 on the far left there. And then on the bottom, it's the NUPL with heat map for Bitcoin. So that's the net unrealized profit / loss. And he wrote, just warming up hashtag Bitcoin. So the top is pretty self-explanatory. And you can see peaks in terms of Bitcoin priced against the dollar for going back literally through the entirety of the existence of it. You can see it's marked with these red arrows here. And he's insisting we don't have a new red arrow for the top. Not really, not for the end of this thing anyway, right? And he's highlighting similar progressions in terms of the market cycle. Even the one, the cycle, the 2 years leading up to 2017. So the fact that we are where we are, and there's a bit of a pullback, very normal. And then if you look at the bottom, the NUPL with heat map Bitcoin, that chart labeled that way at the bottom, again, that's the net unrealized profit loss. That is highlighting if at any given moment, if all of the coins in the network were sold, would the typical holder, would there be on the whole a net loss, or would there be a net gain? So anything under 0 means that there would be a net loss. So if you're looking on the screen right here, you can see where I'm circling. If you look, for instance, towards the end of 2022, obviously that's when FTX collapsed. If everything had to be on the network had to be sold at the current price at that particular point, and you know how low it got. It got like what, $15,000-$16,000. Well, if it had to be sold at that point, there would have been quite a loss. So not that everybody did sell, but so there was a lot of unrealized loss at that time because not literally everybody sold, but that's what it's tracking here. So it is what it said. It's the unrealized profit or loss at any given moment in time. And so anything above 0 means that there's a lot of unrealized profit. And so you can, if you want to know historically, to what degree has there needed to be net unrealized profit before selling? Well, just look at this chart. It's very telling. Every single time that we've hit a market peak, I mean, look at the red arrows here. And it lines up with the Bitcoin price against USD. It's like when you get to that point, that's the point where like, this market's way too hot. Probably everything's overbought. There's going to be that's when it would make time to think, yeah, things are probably over. Unless you think that this time is different. So yes, there's all sorts of unrealized profits because we've gotten at the depths of the bear market, but we haven't gotten into what's marked here as the euphoria stage. This time is not different. So I can't say that with 100% certainty, nobody can, but we are far from where this euphoria stage would be at this particular point in time. And we've only just touched, even in Bitcoin price against the United States dollar, if you look up here, I mean, we've only just touched it a few times earlier this year, and it's been ranging sideways for several months now. But, we haven't had that crazy breakaway. So is this the first time we don't? Okay. So that's why I ask you, what do you think is most probable? Because I don't think that this is the end of the party. So this is why I keep highlighting all sorts of various metrics and perspectives from tons of different chart analysts, because you go to where the wisdom is. And I'm telling you, like, this is what it makes sense to believe, in my humble opinion, which is that we consolidate, it scares a lot of people, the lettuce hands get flushed out, and then we continue to the upside, which I've seen tons of times over my 6.5+ years in crypto. You should expect that to be the case. And by the way, more on XRP in just a second here, but these concepts absolutely apply. Like, the fact that you can look at this historic precedent and look at various metrics to come to very reasonable conclusions about what is probable. We're doing it with Bitcoin here because Bitcoin leads the market, so we should, even if you don't care that much about Bitcoin, even if you don't hold Bitcoin. But you can do this, and you should do it with XRP as well. And if you do it with XRP as well, you should come to the same optimistic conclusion, I believe. XRP is going to hit a new all-time high in enterprise discovery and melt phases. That's what I think is most probable. Unless we actually have a black swan event, everything melts down, we don't have an actual alt season, okay, fine. But I don't think that's what's probable. In fact, on the alt season stuff, and then we'll get right in XRP, here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. And this is others priced against Bitcoin. Now, the others chart, of course, is the It's the entire crypto asset class market cap, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap. So it's everything but the top 10 coins in market cap. And he says, is altcoin season canceled? The chart tells you no. It has happened in every cycle to shake you out. Look at this chart and tell me why you should give up at this bottom. And again, it's just history. It rhymes with itself. You can, if you have eyeballs, you can see this. You can see what he's talking about. Look where he's got the red down, blue to the upside. It's just cyclical nature. Had a last cycle, the one before that. Look at where we're at right now. Is this time different? Can't technically know for sure. What's most probable? Move to the upside, most probable, very clearly. Here's a post from chart analyst Javon Marks, and he's talking about the market dominance of the others chart. And again, others, like I just said a second ago, others is the market cap of the entire crypto asset class, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap. So we're looking at that chart. What's the dominance of those coins? All the coins except for the top 10. Like, what percentage of the market are they dominating? And not surprisingly, it's a smaller percentage, but it always is before it goes. It can go way, way, way higher, and this is where the most opportunity is in terms of multiplier effect. Now, I still feel, and I always have, even since 2017, holding plenty of top 10 coins, so Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, absolutely. To me, those have always seemed like safer bets, and I know that as a result of them having more money than the rest of the asset class, you can get on average a lesser multiplier effect, but my stance has always been I don't give a damn because there's almost no money even in the large caps. You know, it's like I was here when Bitcoin was down to $3,200. I'm like, yeah, there's not much money in Bitcoin right now, so I don't care if it's number one and you're going to get a way better multiplier effect in ETH or XRP or something outside of the top 10. I was like, I'm still going to hold Bitcoin because there's almost no money. So that's the same perspective I have about XRP. It's been tried and true. It's been here over a decade. To me, it's the sweet spot when it comes to investing, where with XRP, you absolutely can still get a crazy multiplier effect, but it's not so far out on the risk curve that you have to wonder, is this like one of those rug pull coins? You know what I'm saying? It's not a micro cap. It's not a small cap. So to me, that's the sweet spot. That's one of the many reasons that I'm a huge fan of XRP and why it's my largest individual holding here. But check out what chart analyst Javon Marks had to say. A surge of insurmountable strength in the dominance of altcoins can be coming as a massive breakout holds in others' dominance. And bullish patterns have been confirmed and are being presented, which can indicate a major shift in trend for alts. The dominance of altcoins with this breakout can be set to climb roughly 88.8% from here, and approximate 10.2% market dominance to 19.3%. Would be the target, and that may only be the recovery phase before a continuation above. Now, folks, I understand you might be thinking, well, you're talking about doubling. Does that mean that the price of coins, all they're going to do is double? No. That is not what that means. So yes, we're looking at the dominance of all the other coins outside of the top 10 at any given moment, but understand that most of them are not going to be popping off at exactly the same time. Only a select few on any given day in alt season would be popping off. So if you see that high and the money keeps rotating in coins, you're going to get crazy, crazy multiplier effects. Way bigger than 2x. Not even close. Not even freaking close. I've seen this many, many times. And that is historically what's happened. That is what we're waiting for. That's why we're here. That's how you get the life-changing wealth. But you do have to be patient, and either you have exposure when the market goes, or you do not. I say the crypto pie keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time, despite bear markets. So I'm happy to keep holding for long periods of time, years and years and years on end, because I don't get to control that, and that's fine. But I think he's right here. And then he says, based on further patterns, the recent declining action may have only been a shakeout before some of the most intense climbing/recovery movements to this targeted dominance level, and many different altcoins in the process of this climb/recovery can react massively to this by also displaying significant major recoveries near to and perhaps above their current all-time highs. Yep, spot on. Such is the nature of alt season, man. There's this post from chart analyst Nick, Crypto Crusader. I'll share with you just a couple of key parts of this, because it's about sentiment. It's worth mentioning. He says, seeing a lot of people saying the top is in, and that we already saw an alt season. I'm not sure if these are just newcomers that don't know that alt season doesn't happen when Bitcoin dominance is above 50%, or if the sentiment is really that bad. And he's right, folks. At the time that I'm recording this video, Bitcoin's market dominance is 54.7%. When that starts to crater, and by the way, Bitcoin price, it can keep going up while the dominance percentage is cratering to the downside. And all that means is that altcoins are outpacing in terms of growth, in terms of price appreciation compared to Bitcoin, like substantially outpacing it. So Bitcoin's market dominance at 54%, you're telling me that's the peak? No, it doesn't make a damn bit. It's one more thing to look at, and it matters. It's of material significance. It just is. 54%? And we had an alt season? Son, I was here in 2017. That is not how this works. That is not how this works. Bitcoin dominance cratered to the downside. It got to like 30-something%. My God. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it go even lower now because there are way more coins now. So in 2017, I think there may have been like close to 2,000 coins. There's now over 20,000. So it shouldn't be surprising if there are more coins. There's going to be more of a percentage of the market where money is elsewhere in terms of market cap. But still, it doesn't matter. I'm just adding an additional thought to that. I'm just saying Bitcoin dominance number go lower ultimately. I mean, if you're talking about the end of the cycle, right? We're not there. How about some XRP stuff? Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender. It's got an XRP USD chart, and then he's also highlighting. So he's highlighting a couple things here. You can see, obviously, since this chart goes back to 2014, well, technically you can see the tail of the 2013 price action, the beginning of time for XRP being tracked on a chart. He's highlighting, obviously, XRP's price appreciation against the dollar, as well as the relative strength index for XRP, which is the purple line at the bottom. And it looks like the other one's just smoothing it out. But he's noting price bottoms and how they line up with the RSI bottoming out, the relative strength index. In every single time for a decade that we have hit these levels, that has been exactly right at the moment before XRP blasts to the upside. So if you think this is the first time that's different after, a decade of chart activity, I mean, if you think that's what's probable, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't think that's what's most probable. I think by a lot what's most probable is we see a continuation to the upside. And as long as the rest of the market goes, why wouldn't XRP go? So just like I was highlighting a little bit earlier in the video, all this stuff with Bitcoin, because you can pick a ton of different metrics to track this stuff. They'll all tell you the same thing. I mean, they should. Well, I shouldn't say it quite like that. They will lead you to believe that what's most probable is a continuation to the upside. That's if you just look at a ton of different metrics. So, like when I was showing you this from TechDev with Bitcoin, the net unrealized profit / loss. It's one more thing. Okay, so that makes sense. Well, let's apply the same type of thought process to XRP now. Look at the relative strength index. Okay. Why did these things always line up? And now is the time where it doesn't? For a decade, they lined up. The price action of XRP against the dollar and the RSI lined up, but now they don't. Okay. I don't buy it. I mean, that thing's going to go. Oh, and by the way, I want to mention this too. So there's this from the blockchain backer. The time is here. XRP price chart meets longest bear ever. And this is how it went last time. And you should check out his video. I think that one's probably like 10 or 11 minutes. And I don't want to rehash it, but I will note one of the things that he was focusing on is like, this is the make or break moment. And if the market's going to expand, like this is it. And historically in the past, certainly that has been the case here. So yeah, longest bear ever for XRP. I mean, if you look what happened, again, new all-time high, January 4th, 2018. So in terms of even just sideways action, whoa, it's insane. Now there's precedent for that. Because, from 2013 through beginning of 2018, close to 5 freaking years for XRP to hit its all-time high, with the vast majority of that time just being sideways price action or down. And so that is largely what we've seen for the last 6.5 years now. So that actually isn't that different. I still think the SEC very clearly impacted what happened on the chart, but setting that aside, his videos are worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet. So, he's there have been some comments from him recently where you can tell that there's been a bit of enthusiasm, but he's still mostly reserved. And I say fair enough. That's perfectly reasonable. He's very careful in the way that he presents his tone. Totally respectable. But he's noting like, this is that point. Like, do it or don't. We got to find out. Like, this is the time. This is pretty much it. Because historically that has been true. And so you just got to kind of wonder, is the market going to expand or not? And there are lots of reasons to think that we are. Historically, we do almost all the time anyway, especially after hitting new all-time highs for the S&P 500. And you could argue that there are certain things that look a little bit peculiar in terms of, there hasn't been breadth. You have a high concentration within certain companies within the S&P 500. Certainly true. That's absolutely true. But it doesn't mean you can't have expansion. There is precedent for like the Russell 2000 lagging behind. There's all sorts of things you look at. So to think that it can have or won't have. And also Raoul Pal, and I may have mentioned this in a recent video, he cited a list of reasons that he thinks there's going to be an increase in liquidity, including this year. So if that's indeed the case, like money got to go somewhere. So if that's going to happen, could that be something that triggers expansion? Well, it could. We're going to find out together, but sure. Like, why the hell not? Then we have this from Chart Analyst Cryptos. Market cap XRP dominance percent, and you can see it's in the gutter right now at 1.18%. Yet Cryptos wrote, and for good reason, XRP dominance still looking beautiful. Now, why might he be writing that if I just said it's in the gutter? Well, because when it looks this poor compared to other assets, that is right where you should expect it to be before it blasts to the upside. The market will figure this out. If a coin in the asset class gets way too undervalued, the market does eventually figure it out. That's where we are with XRP. The market eventually figures out, even if it takes years. And it shouldn't be surprised that it does take years, because the nature of crypto cycles, it is cyclical every several years or so. Here's a post from Chart Analyst E-Grade Crypto. XRP, the bent fork, $17 in historical support update. June 2023, we introduced the bent fork chart, and here's the latest scoop. New top target of $17, key resistance $1, both a structural barrier and psychological hurdle. All-time high, $3.50. Breaking this could open the gates to Valhalla. We all waiting for that, that's for damn sure. Touched 40 cents as predicted. 75 cents is the gatekeeper. Closing above it with conviction is crucial for all-time high. Number one, $1 rather, remains a significant structural and psychological barrier. Equilibrium around $1.80, and major target is $17. So I don't make price predictions, but if XRP runs that high, especially given how long it's consolidated, all the price suppression, and if we're going to have true expansion in the market, 17 is not crazy. That absolutely could happen. I don't know if it's going to, and again, I'm not in the price prediction game. It would be disingenuous since I'm not a chart guy. But yeah, it certainly could. And as Dark Defender wrote here on this chart I just showed you a second ago, he said, when you see, you see. It was never easy for XRP and will not be, but in the end, history repeats itself. And so that's why I shared with you in this video what I shared with you. It's that line of thinking and applying various metrics to Bitcoin is the same thing you should do with XRP. And if you do it with Bitcoin, I don't know how you could come to a conclusion anything different if you're being reasonable. Same with XRP, though. How can you come to a different conclusion in terms of what's probable? Well, I've said my piece on it. Then there was this from chart analyst Bobby A. He wrote, and he shared one of his posts yesterday from May 15th, because he's like, yep, you can tell clearly nothing has changed here. It's XRP priced against Bitcoin. It's the same thing. XRP priced this poorly against Bitcoin. This is going back 10 years. This is the moment historically where XRP, it's all dead. Everybody's bitching up a storm, but then it does just go. And so that's why when the blockchain backers are also saying, this is it, make or break. Yup. And he's talking about XRP specifically. So again, you guys just tell me what the hell you think, but I'm thinking what's likely to occur, move to the upside. A big one. And so here's the 3-month chart of XRP price against Bitcoin. It's been holding that low for over a month now. It hit June 7th. It's been moving to the upside. I don't know for sure if that was the bottom that we saw about a month ago. But if not, as I always say, markets eventually find bottom. So even if it has to go one notch lower first, okay, whatever, I don't care. It has always done that. It has always found a bottom. This time is not different. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.